Hello everyone, I'm Christina, and today I'm just making a video and uploading it because the weather's a little bit off. And there are and have been talks about water events and magnetic pole reversal, signs heading to a pole shift. So coastal areas are in danger of a tsunami. So as quickly as I can, I'm going to go through a lot of very vital information. If you're not subbed, please sub. If you are already subbed, please check to make sure all notifications are selected and that you're actually still subbed, because of what happens from those platforms sometimes. Also, I have a lot of links in the description box for my friends Daily Excellence, Off Grid with Paul and Adrian, my PayPal link, and any other pertinent information usually that needs to go down there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This is about surviving a tsunami and what to expect, and there's actually a lot. There's a lot. So let's start at the beginning. All right, rule number 1: don't overthink it when it's starting to happen. Act immediately. Gazing will get you killed. Do not stop, stare at it, go, oh, maybe that's not. No, just you see it happening, turn around and start your plan of escape. Tsunamis can travel up rivers and streams. So just because you're not on the coast, if you're on a river connected to that coast that leads to the ocean, you're still in danger. A large tsunami can flood low-lying coastal areas more than a mile inland. The series of waves that flood, drain away, and then reflood the land, they may last for hours. The time between waves ranges from 5 minutes to 2 hours. Is it possible to survive a tsunami? Well, many people have. But most people do not survive being swept into a tsunami. But there are ways you can protect yourself from these natural disasters. Your exit strategy will depend on where you are and will go a lot more smoothly if you have a plan in advance. Plan in advance to be up on your first aid and CPR training and knowledge. You might have to resuscitate a dear loved one. Plan in advance to be... Okay, I already just said that. Can anyone outrun a tsunami? No. Just no. Not really, no. To like outrun it? No. But what you can do is, yes, start running, but you want to run up. not just away, but up. Okay, a lot of people try to run ahead of it. It's going to catch you quick. But in order to survive a tsunami, it really depends on a lot of factors, such as how far away you are from the tsunami, how high the waves are, how fast it's coming in, if there are high enough structures to climb, and your reaction time. You likely won't be able to outrun the water no matter how fast your car is. Traffic, buckling roads, pedestrians. The largest recorded tsunami was in Alaska. That is home to the largest tsunami ever recorded, Anchorage. 1,720-foot wave hit the tall banks of Lituya Bay in southeast Alaska in 1958, so not really that long ago. There were 2 people who were in the bay who died and 4 who survived. In the beginning, you may or may not feel and hear the quake or impact. It can even be a torpedo strike that causes it, such as the Poseidon Autonomous Torpedo. This torpedo is a nuclear-powered device that can travel the world's oceans unaided and undetected. It can be programmed to travel to and lay off the coast of an adversary at a depth of at least 1 kilometer. At the programmed time, the torpedo would detonate a nuclear bomb it carries that has a yield of up to 100 megatons. The design of the weapon is such that most of the blast energy could not make it to the surface of the sea because of the great depth at which the explosion takes place. Instead, that energy would push the water in a sudden violent blast, causing a gigantic tidal wave. As the wave approaches the coast, the waters get shallow as they rise up to the shoreline, which causes the moving water to begin piling up on itself. When the wave finally comes ashore, it does so as a 1,500-foot tall wall of water moving at about 600 miles per hour. Everything on the shore and perhaps as deep as 25 miles inland is wiped off the face of the earth. No warning. No warning. No evacuation time. Just a wall of water killing everything in its path. What makes this especially horrifying is that all the nuclear blast energy is still in the water, so it is also highly radioactive. Once the water comes ashore, it deposits that radiation onto the land, making the entire area uninhabitable for over 100 years. If not killed outright by the wave, nothing would be able to survive once exposed to the tremendous radiation that this attack will unleash. So I told you there's more to this than you might think. But let's just, keep going here, because we're still talking about what happens now as you begin to realize that a tsunami is coming in. The birds will swiftly and suddenly begin flying in a panicked flock away from a specific direction. You will feel vibrations. Cell phones, internet, TV, computers, and anything connected to electrical outlets will stop working at the very same time. You may, if you have warning time, you might hear warning sirens and a roar from the ocean. You will hear whistling, all this from the ocean, grinding metal sounds. But as it comes in, you'll hear crashes, car horns, explosions, breaking concrete and trees, sound of an approaching plane as it comes in, a train or a missile. You might see trees falling in a certain direction, a rapid recession of water from the shore, and a high wave approaching. Not all tsunamis will have receding water, so don't be so fast to call it a false alarm. Be prepared to evacuate. Don't waste time. 30 minutes or less to get to safety. Can be seconds. First wave might not be the only one or the biggest. Maintain alertness and safety after the initial strike. If anyone has ever belly flopped into a pool or natural body of water, you already know that the seeming softness of the water can become a solid brick wall for breaking your body. Water weighs 8 pounds per gallon. So if you say just had 1,000 gallons of water, just 1,000, you have 8,000 pounds of pressure about to hit you at so many miles per hour, depending on how fast it's coming in. So a lot of you wouldn't have time to even think about drowning. Lights out. Okay. Listen carefully to evacuation plans to evaluate your situation and exit strategy. During this time, depending on geography, landslides will become more likely. Dams may collapse. If you are in a building, stay away from the windows. If you are visiting the beach, always have an idea of how to get to safety if a tsunami occurs. The condition of the water of an incoming tsunami will be dangerous. It could be full of chemicals, like right here in Galveston on my coastline, we have a lot of chemical plants. Yours might also, or nuclear power plants. But either way, it could be full of chemicals, radioactivity, debris, cars, sharp objects, and people dead and alive. Get out of the water. It's going to be difficult because of the rapids. They're very powerful. But it's not the kind of water you want to dive into or kayak in, not even to save somebody, like dive in it. No, there's too much in there you do not want to know. It's just, you got to get out of that water first opportunity, because of all the things that I've said. But there's also electrocution hazards, fire hazards, strong rapids, dangerous and upset critters in this water. They're freaked out too, okay? The water may be extremely cold instead of tropical in nature, like if something happens in Iceland and Greenland, then yes, I talk about it in a tropical sense because I'm a tropical native, but in other conditions it can be very, very cold, so hypothermia could become an issue also. Clothing and people will be ripped from you. If you are in a boat away from the harbor, go towards the sea while the wave passes underneath you if possible. If you're in the water, grab onto something that can help you float. If you want to save another soul from the water, A lot of people don't know how to swim, and even if they can, they may be injured. But do not jump into the water to save somebody. Do not do that. What you want to do is not even reach out your hand, because depending on what's in that water, it'd be too slippery to really maybe even grab them, and if you're not grounded, you'll end up back in that water too. So what you want to do is have an object to put out, have yourself grounded, and have them catch onto the object and then pull them in. That is the safest thing. My first job was as a lifeguard at the YMCA, right? And I had to I went through like 12 years of intense swim training before that day came. Not that everybody has to do that, but that's what I had done. And I was in peak physical condition, but we had to do first aid and CPR training. So if you're not on the up and up, if you have a baby, a toddler, a teenager, a husband, there's different types of CPR. You really want to know that. You want to know how to stop bleeding, just different things. So you want to brush up on your first aid and CPR now, because these events are getting closer, okay? But yes, as a lifeguard, a lot of times in the training, they'll teach us that if you're in the water, even if you're trying to save someone, a lot of times if somebody's drowning, they're panicking, so they're going to grab you and they're going to try to pull you down with them. And a lot of other people could be around too, right, doing the same thing. So that's why putting an object out is so important. We were also learned to pivot our bodies to face the person grabbing onto us, and then push with our feet and our hands away from them to get out of the stranglehold, the dangerous situation. It's really just going to be best not to get in the water if you're not in it. Bridges and roads may be wiped out. Stay calm. The whole world already knows you're in trouble, and they are coming your way. Be patient. Don't let your mind go to weird places. Watch for nails and other protruding objects, glass. It'll be everywhere. Try not to talk a lot, because it might be a while till you can get fresh water, and you want to be careful of water. It's got bacteria, blood. I mean, you don't even want to know what's in there. Don't drink that water. Even if it comes out of a tap, it could be contaminated if it's near the area, Keep your faith in God strong, and remember that God giveth and God taketh away. Life is temporary, precious, and fleeting, and that at any moment, one of us, many of us, can be taken out of here for any reason, in any way, not just rapture. And these days are fast approaching. All right. Also, because it is God who decides these things, then we also need to make sure that we stop ourselves from indulging in survivor's guilt. The why did they survive and I didn't questions, and just feeling guilt. Don't do that. That's in God's hands, as are you now. You lived for a reason. Who he took them for a reason. But know that we're all in the last days. None of us really have a whole lot of time left. It's just a matter of when and how we go. But most of us are getting ready to leave. So love the people around you, especially these days. Okay, lots of tidal wave movies out there. And also, if you made it to this point, I want to let you know that we are going to do a live about Stargates really soon. Could be tomorrow. And if you haven't watched the 2 previous videos I did, one about deceptive fallen television and the other one about secret paranormal phenomenon studies in the military, it's sort of like part 1 and 2 to this one, and they build on each other. So if you haven't watched those, go back and watch those. That way you'll be ready for the next one, because we're going to be bringing back up some of the things I've mentioned in the other 2 videos, because it builds and adds on. So if you don't know what like RNG numbers are and certain things, then it's a lot of this in this video is going to go right over your head. And if, you just go to my channel. It's recent videos I've done, like right before this one. Okay, so get ready. We're going to have a very in-depth, because you may think that Stargates don't have a whole lot to you, but you don't really realize how much they've already been involved in your life. So everybody, I want to thank you. I just for being here. Share the videos. I love you guys. And the signal, it's like kind of raining in and out. The signal's kind of in and out. So I at least wanted to get something here, say hello to everybody, let you know that I'm thinking of you, and get you prepared. Because most people live on the coastline. All right. I love you. God bless you. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.